All right, next up, presentation on citywide trail system. Go ahead, Scott.
Mayor Council Scott Seldes for the record. I will try to be somewhat expeditious in this presentation. We have talked about the citywide trail system for years now. It's been part of Parks Master Plan. It's been part of multiple budgets, and we have dedicated staff to it in this and the prior budget year, and we are actively pursuing a Texas Parks and Wildlife grant. So I just wanted to give an overview to the council on where we are and next steps. And I've got a couple of representatives who are going to share the podium with me through this presentation from the Great Springs Project. So with that said, we have been surveying our citizens on the importance of a citywide recreation trail for the past 5 years. You can see that originally the quality of life initiatives were taking somewhat of a backseat to more public health, safety, and welfare, but lately they have been skyrocketing in importance, and we recognize and feel that and know that this year, with the additional questions, we'll see similar results. We have worked well over the past several years with Great Springs Project and others on the Emerald Crown / Violet Crown trail system. And this is a little hard, but I'm going to do my best with the cursor here. It doesn't really show up too well. You see the end of the Violet Crown Trail, which comes out of Austin, begins the Emerald Crown Trail, which comes through Buda, Kyle, and San Marcos. And you can see a couple of loops. This is the Kyle-Buda loop of the Emerald Crown, and then the Kyle loop, Kyle to San Marcos loop. What you'll notice with that loop is what we have really been focusing our time, attention, and budget on, which is from the Blanco River to the west, through the city, matching up with a little tributary to the Plum Creek, then to the Plum Creek after it goes under the interstate. Following the Plum Creek, you won't see this here, but a portion of that continues east through a subdivision that has yet to be constructed. And then this is the Cool Springs Trail portion, which ultimately comes down Canyon Run 158 and into San Marcos. So it's a very ambitious, very exciting trail network for our citizens and quality of life. With that said, I would like to introduce our partners with Great Springs Project who have helped plan the Violet Crown and Emerald Crown portion, and we'll invite them to the podium to talk for a little bit.
Thank you, Scott. Mayor, Council, thank you all so much for giving us a chance to be here with you. I'm Gary Merritt with Great Springs Project. This is Leader Corey Malampi, also with Great Springs Project. We're joined virtually by another one of our team members, Jason Reyes. He's in North Carolina right now, but he has expertise in public engagement and public participation in trail projects and parks and open space projects, and is helping us with all of our work. We work along the corridor between San Antonio and Austin with cities and counties, nonprofits, people that are interested in parks and open space. Our job is to listen, understand, and be good partners, and to work with you on what's important to you, what is unique to your community, what your community wants and needs, and then figure out how we can help to provide resources to help you do the things that your people are asking you to do. There's no one size fits all, and we've been in public service before, and we know that the most important thing is what's most important to you. And so that's what we try to do, is just show up and to be a resource when we can. And our goal is to connect all of these trails. So there's a network of trails from the Alamo to the Capitol, from San Antonio to Austin. It's got all kinds of...
Big vision.
It's a big vision, but we're Texans, and there's a good reason that we should be doing this. Lots of reasons for it. You got your reasons here in Kyle that you should be supporting and want to support the work that is being done, and we just want to be a part of that and a resource for you all.
Great. Well, I think we all certainly are. So anything to add, Scott?
Yeah, there's a few more slides here. I'll just kind of run through them here. So thank you, Gary and Lita. We'll have a chance to hear from them a little bit more. You can see as we zoom into the Kyle portion, basically the Plum Creek Trail segment of the Violet Crown in a little more macro level. Here's west from the Blanco River, just across to where it matches up to the Plum Creek. and then our eastern portion as it hits Waterleaf Park. Again, a little portion of that's already been cleared and is being utilized and enjoyed by our citizenry. There's about 2,800 feet left for easement acquisition, so all things considered, with over 10 miles of trails, that's not too bad, right? We're about a half a mile left of total property or easement acquisition on this whole trail segment. But you can see there 36,000 linear feet unpaved, so there's quite a bit to do from a trail improvement standpoint. The council may recall, those of you who are on council and for those who are new, the city did receive a Parks and Wildlife Trail grant. It was a $200,000 award. We matched it with almost the same amount from our Park Development Fund. We have been working since being notified of that award amount on the geotech, doing the historical survey, things like that, and just got the word that everything is clear and we are ready to move forward into the design and construction phase. So you can see that the funds that were included in our match and in the award for those fees in that phase. Now, that segment is right here. We call this the Spring Branch segment. So basically from 150 West to James Atkins Drive is basically that phase. So that's going to be forthcoming. The reason why that's important is because we need to basically plan and match the Spring Branch portion with the overall Plum Creek Trail. We received an award from the citizens from the recent bond election for monies to go toward trails. And we worked with Hays County that we've talked about matching that award for East Side Trails. And so we want to begin the design phase as well for that east side, all the east side trail segments, again, up through Cool Springs. So with that, most of the trail will be in some sort of a design or construction phase as we move into 2021, 2022. So what does that mean for us? Well, we have questions to answer. How wide should the trail be? You know, there's a lot of technicalities here. Should it match the Violet Crown portion of the trail? What sort of recreational amenities will be enjoyed here? Are we talking small wheels like rollerblades, which really can't go on caliche, or even, you know, asphalt, loose asphalt? You know, it needs more of a widened concrete segment. Do we have multiple trails with multiple trail types along the Plum Creek, for example? Parking areas, how do we build those out? Trail amenities, and you can see some of those listed that we want to place on along the trail. So all these are questions that we would like the citizens to help us answer, and that's again why we've asked the Great Springs Project to be our partners in this. So again, here's some pictures and some examples of what Violet Crown looks like already in some areas. And you can see San Marcos as well. So the next step that we'd like to bring forward is the public engagement process. Not only the survey, but have focus groups with Great Springs Project helping to navigate those with us, facilitate those at the table, and coordinate that with the overall Violet Crown. I'm going to turn it back to this last slide here to Gary or Lita.
Thank you, Scott. Just wanted to pop up this slide and kind of give you a timeline for this work that we're engaged in now, and why it is that we're talking about this slide with y'all is that we understand, like you all know, that parks and trails, open space, it's high value, low cost infrastructure. It's what people want. Your surveys that y'all are going to be doing in April, we will expect that there'll be a lot of requests for parks and open space and trails there. But we still have to show the business case for this investment. Tax dollars, bond dollars, public money. And so we are working on a health and economic benefits report for the trail, the extended trail from San Antonio to Austin, but also breaking it down county by county. So there'll be a Hays County portion of this that we'll be able to share and to provide to you as a resource, so that when you're making your decisions and when you're talking about what the public investment in this parks and open space and trails is, you can point to and say, this is why we're doing it for the city of Kyle. This is why it's important for the people of Hays County to do. We'll have that report, a draft of it, the economic and health benefits report by beginning of summer. So that'll be available to you all as you all are moving into your work later in the year. And then by the end of the year, with the public participation, stakeholder groups, series of meetings, we'll have the full plan for each of the communities' trails that they're working on, like yours, and then the extended trail.
So with that, our goal is to move into that public engagement phase, try to match up with that timeline that Gary just mentioned, and answer some of those critical questions about trail construction and amenities. And we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions for Mr. Sellers of the group? Councilmember Flores-Kelp.
Hello, I have a question. So this really gets me excited because I live on 150 East and we have nothing but highway. And so I was talking to my daughter who's 11 and I was like, man, we need some accessibility over there. And so I thought, that's TxDOT over there. So we have to be kind of conscious how we do this. And so my daughter was like, well, why don't you just do it in the back? Like with the trails. Because I think right now as it goes from like Lake Kyle all the way to Waterleaf. And I'm not sure if that's completed. I'm not sure what that is. This is the first time I've seen this. But it really gets me excited to know that maybe we can bring back some of I was born in the 70s and I grew up in the 80s. We walked everywhere we went. We were not my parents didn't worry about us. We came back right before it got dark. Not that I'm going to do that, but it's nice to know that we will have this as an option for transportation, walking, which is great, as opposed to being on the front road. And that would take some pressure off, hopefully, the residents. I will say it is only on one side. So we'll have to work on sidewalks on the others, but I'm really excited. And I'm curious, is that, because we're going to be off of Plum Creek as well, right? So is that included or is that already done?
So I think what you may be referring to is the the Cool Springs section of the trail. And if you can see what we have up here, this actually connects across 150 and goes into that Cool Springs Park area. So that is part of the overall plan where those bond monies are going to go toward, or at least that's the anticipation, and then tie into Waterleaf Park back up to Plum Creek.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And Jason is on as well. If there are any questions from a trail planning, he's done a great job designing trail systems well. So, and again, we're here to answer any questions.
Any more questions? Councilmember Rizzo.
Just one quick question for Jason. What's the best surface you found for identifying the trail that's environmental friendly?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things you want to think about is the users and the environment. I think when you talk about the user's preference, the planning work that's been done in Kyle for the Emerald Crown Trail has really identified the crushed stone surface as the preference. And I think if that's done right and it's compacted well enough, that can be very good for the environment. There's of course, less of the heat island effect with that, as opposed to paving. It's less resource intensive in that sense as well. You have to think about maintenance, trade-offs with paved versus unpaved. But I think that's one thing that will help in the next coming months when Scott is reaching out to the public and asking questions about their preferences for trail types, would be to have some information about what those trade-offs are so people can make an educated decision. So that's the one thing that we can talk to Scott about and help him get some information about, the different trail design options that you want to ask the public about.
Thank you, Jason.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
I'll just add one,
Oh,
just
go
real
ahead,
real
Councilor
quick, I'm sorry. Again, we met the other day on the task force, and I just wanted to say I'm really excited to finally hear that we're planning something from our area. Robert and I know that our parks back in the day was just Old Stagecoach Road. Going to 5 Mile Dam was our park and our water source as far as swimming. So it's finally glad to start seeing something on paper that we can start seeing for the residents of this area. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.